The topic du jour in all of ecom is scaling spend. How do you scale your account? Well, improving LTV is actually the most stable and reliable way to allow for a higher Facebook ad spend, which is effectively scaling your account by running a better business. So let's spend the next little bit diving into how to do that and what I've done to do this to build 4 8-figure businesses in the last 5 years. First off, we have to understand that we are scaling based on PSM, profitable, scaling, margin. We are not using ROAS. It is a terrible metric. It's not cash flow. Now, the higher the PSM, the higher the media budget can be. Remember, PSM, profitable scaling margin, equals LTV divided by the sum of CPA and COGS. What is the lifetime value of a customer? And divide that by how much does it cost to make each sale in their customer journey, and how much does it cost to deliver a finished product to that person. Basically, what is the profit margin on every customer journey, and that gap is what you can scale into. That's the profitable scaling margin. Now, out of these 3 things, CPA can be wildly volatile, especially day to day. And if you're managing day to day, please stop. Look at it week to week, month to month. Number 2, COGS are generally really stable. Like, they're hard to improve unless you hit volume. And lastly, LTV is really easy to manipulate and creates the greatest opportunity for growth. And with that, we can scale super easy. The easiest way to scale a business is to improve the LTV so that you can spend more to acquire a customer, so you can handle a greater amount of inefficiency at a larger scale. This is an economy of scale argument. And the easiest way to get better LTV is to improve the second purchase rate. We need to ask ourselves 3 very important questions. Number 1, how often does somebody buy from you more than once? Number 2, out of every 100 purchases, how many of those people actually become customers? And number 3, how often is your LTV more than the AOV of the first purchase? Without a second purchase, your LTV will never be more than your AOV. This means that your ability to scale growth and acquisition by adding budget only comes when you can improve your CPA. We've already said CPA can be kind of volatile, especially day to day. But if you're adding a lot of budget, odds are it's not going down. And your ROAS only comes from this first transaction. Also, your ROAS has very little correlation to LTV. If you have a 5x ROAS or a 1x ROAS, that doesn't mean anything about how much more money that person is going to spend with your business. Which means ROAS, on top of being a completely nonsense metric that has nothing to do with cash flow, where you basically are trying to take credit for every member of the team's work and the lifetime of that customer journey up to that last click, outside of it, it has no impact on cash flow and not predictive at all for how much money you can spend to acquire a customer. If you're worried about ROAS instead of second purchase rate, you're only ever going to be reactive at best. And that means you're never going to be able to scale past what you're able to see inside the platform today. That ain't building a business. That's being a salesperson. There's a very big difference. Projectable cash flow and business growth that results from it come from LTV and correlating future revenue. The point here is, if you don't know if you're ever going to see a penny from that customer ever again, well, really from that purchaser ever again, because they're not a customer yet, then you can't possibly spend anything more than what you need to profit on their first sale to acquire that purchase. You are crippled to a transaction, not a relationship. You might reduce your CPA by 10% and it might go back up. So there's no stable revenue lift by forcing down CPA as your only weapon. And if you scale your budget by 10%, your CPA is probably going to rise. So again, no stable revenue lift. It's a little bit better, but it's not stable, and you can't project future cash flow because of it. If, however, you work on improving your second purchase rate by 10%, say 3% of people buy from you a second time. If you make it 3.3%, improving that second purchase rate by 10%, you're going to see an improved revenue every week, every month. And you might say, well, I'm bootstrapped. I can't afford to lose money up front. That's a lie. Because when you start to get these people to buy more than once, you're getting cash flow that you don't have to pay for. Mailbox money. You're going to wake up with your Shopify not being at zero without having to spend any money on ads. That means you don't have to be profitable on your ads to grow your business. When you will see revenue improve every week and every month in a stable and a highly projectable fashion, you are going to also remember two fundamental truths around a simple principle that is going to help you scale your business. Number one, more transactions. If you can improve the second purchase rate of your business, you are going to have access to two fundamental truths that will allow you to scale your brand. Even if you're bootstrapped, even if your front end is less than a 1 ROAS. Number one, the more sales you have with someone, the more opportunities you have to improve the AOV of each one of those transactions. And number two, the more often someone buys from your brand, the more likely they are to buy from you again. This is a psychological and emotional connection that they're making with you. So simply getting more people to buy from you a second time gives you a greater scale of a revenue that you don't have to pay for. And that will fundamentally change the landscape for you to scale your business. Let's talk about product vertical integration and e-commerce. This is actually the easiest way to scale your business, even while losing money on Facebook in the front end, because you're building a business with a much higher LTV. The simplest way to improve the LTV of a customer's journey is to sell that customer a product that furthers their journey with those products and your brand. Vertical integration is the concept and principle around selling complementary products to your customers. Now, nearly every household brand in the world has embraced vertical integration. Honestly, there are very few successful businesses in the world that haven't. Yet, far too few small businesses are still effectively a product with a marketing team. From $5 food brands to car companies, clothing and education, insurance and real estate. Everybody's doing vertical integration. Let me give you some examples. Apple has the AirPods that go with the iPhone. Car dealers will not just sell you the car, but also do repairs. Netflix and Spotify and Amazon Prime will charge you monthly. These are all great examples of LTV lifts after the first purchase. This is improvements of second purchase rate. These are vertically integrated product offerings. Subscription is one of the most popular versions of it. MeUndies does a fantastic job of it. We can ask ourselves, what are the most commonly sold products by people who buy from us more than once? How does one product you offer complement the customer experience of another product that you sell? One of the easiest ways to do this research for your brand is to search Amazon and see what they suggest in the frequently bought together section. And you can see what bundles your competitors offer, even if it's unintentional. If you want to buy a product, down at the bottom, let's say people that bought this also bought these two other things. That's a bundle. That's vertical integration. Why don't you incorporate that into your business model today? Probably the single all-time greatest sales pitch is this. But wait, there's more. We see it all the time in infomercials, but we don't see it nearly often enough in e-commerce. This is the rebuttal upsell. And if your rebuttal upsell or rebuff sell has an AOV that's greater than your current LTV, you've improved your brand's LTV in the first transaction. If your customer doesn't want to pay full price for an item, fine. Don't offer them a discount. No, offer them an upsell. You didn't want to buy this thing? How about buy two, get one free? But wait, there's more. That's going to basically bake in that second purchase rate on the first transaction. And remember, when they buy more products from you, they're more likely to buy from you again. So if somebody takes a buy two, get one free and they don't hate it, they're probably going to come back and pay full price for one, or take another buy two, get one free offer. In which case, if you are struggling to get a second purchase off of your customers, you might be able to sell them 4 or 5 times as much in revenue value. That's a huge boost, because buy two, get one free means if they take that transaction twice, they bought 4. You were struggling to get them to buy 2. That's a game changer. Let's do the quick math. If your AOV is $50 and you have a COG of $10, and the average customer buys 2 times for an LTV of $100, and the first CPA is 40, and the second sale costs 25, your net margin is $15. The buy two, get one free rebuff sell as a retargeting offer with a CPA of $80 and a COG of $30 would give you a net margin of $40. That's over 2 times as good. It's nearly 3 times better for your bottom line. Plus you shave in shipping. To recap, this is more than doubling your average customer purchase value. And your LTV goes up by more than 50% on the first purchase. And if your rebuff sales account for 20% of sales, then your brand average LTV goes up by 10%. This would allow you to scale by 10% or more. And if you get a single sale from any of that extra spend, your PSM goes up immediately. And if you don't have to spend money to get those extra sales, and you're selling people buy two, get one frees, imagine how much better your percentage of revenue that doesn't come from paid media is. That's how much more money you can lose at the front end of Facebook, even if you're bootstrapped, even if you're struggling, even if everybody told you you have to have a positive ROAS. That's how you scale a business.